It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions. Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do. You do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host, just back from San Francisco, John Riley. We welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to put a lot of hot topics on the table. Coming up in the next hour, we're going to ask you to join us in the Fans Forum chat box. This podcast is brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. If you've got projects for the summer into the fall, they've got materials. If you're looking for ideas, they can be your best friend. They'll be your consultant. Go to DIXIELINE.com to have all the things they have to offer. DIXIELINE Lumber. Build it, fix it, guarantee you will enjoy it the rest of 2025. Mr. San Francisco.
Yeah.
John Riley just back from a long weekend watching Dodgers, Giants, Ohtani hitting balls into McCovey Cove and all that. How you doing?
Doing great. Didn't make it to the stadium, but hanging out with good friends in the city. Dodger Nation was invading North Beach while we were there, and we drove a Waymo, one of those driverless taxis in San Francisco. It's pretty cool. Great trip. Back. Happy to be back with you on a Monday.
We got a lot to cover. We're going a lot of different directions because there's a lot of storylines and some late-breaking stuff, too. Before we start, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, I invented it, so I know, we put topics on the table. When we're done, we open it up to you. It's called Fans Forum. It's called You Get Into the Chat Box. Express opinions, ask questions, etc. John, how do they do it?
Okay, yeah, it's called You Get Into the line. Kiss My Aztec line. So, no, it's your chance to get involved. Got a question for Hacksaw here in the world of sports. Drop your take in the live chat on YouTube, X, or Facebook. And by the way, we already see Callan has jumped in right when we started, Lee. So, everyone's getting on board already.
Fans Forum chat box will be open. We'll put a topic on the table. If we hit your hot button, you hit the chat box button, express an opinion, so we'll get you on the other second half of this podcast. If you like sports, I write sports every day. I want you to check my website, leehacksawhamilton.com. All the stuff is posted in the early morning hours. It's there right for you. Also, when you go to the homepage, there's an orange box right there. You have the chance to join Hacksaw's Insiders Group, which puts you on our special email list. You get 2 emails a day from John and I. So join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You're on social media, I want you to join my Twitter All-Star team on X. Just type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, or at Hacksaw1090. Hit the follow button. Want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Want you to subscribe. When you subscribe to the different channels, you will get the alerts every time you put something up. Put a lot of videos up on the YouTube channel during the course of the week and on to the weekend. We cover it from a lot of different angles, give you a lot of opportunity to interact with us on different social media platforms. Are you ready, Mr. San Francisco?
I am ready. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about. Major League Baseball All-Star break is starting right now.
Okay, let's zero in on different topics on the table as it relates to baseball. We're going to talk about the All-Star game. This is an All-Star game hyphen with controversy. A lot of unhappy people about what's transpired in the last 10 days as we go to Tuesday night's game in Atlanta. 15 players have already pulled out of this All-Star game.
Wow.
The unique group of players who were voted in by the fans, and then the rest of the roster that was added by the players' vote and the managers, awful lot of guys have stepped away. Some of it by virtue of injury, a bunch of it by pitchers who just thrown games on Saturday and Sunday who are not ready to be able to pitch on Tuesday, and a whole bunch of other guys just don't want to go for a wide variety of reasons. 15 guys have pulled out, including 7 pitchers. It'll be fun to see because the 2 electric starters in Major League Baseball, Kubel from Detroit, Tarek Kubel, and Paul Steens of Pittsburgh, they're going to be the starting pitchers. That's going to be fun. We don't know who else is going to throw after each of those guys probably goes 1 inning. A lot of controversy over Jacob Misiorowski, the bright, young, hard-throwing right-hander rookie, Milwaukee. He was named at the last minute as a replacement. But what's got really people incensed, including the entire Philadelphia Philly organization, is that Mazeroski's only pitched 5 games in the first half of the season. He's 4-1. He's been dominant, throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, but he's only pitched 5 games. You got guys that have been there the whole season, putting up really good numbers, notably a bunch of pitchers in Philadelphia. And you got guys who have been longtime major leaguers, who put in a lot of years having banner seasons, and they don't get consideration. And all of a sudden, players are barking that Major League Baseball has made this a one-night stand, and guys who deserve to get there aren't there because we're looking for somebody flashy. That's where the slug line came that you put on the board. They're starting to call this All-Star game Savannah Banana Baseball. They think there's just too many antics wrapped around this. And then we got a home run derby. And a whole bunch of names who baseball wanted to go said no. Injury factor, wear and tear factor, don't want to screw up my mechanics. So there is no Aaron Judge. There is no Pete Alonso in the home run derby. There is no Fernando Tatis. And there's no Juan Soto. So we got a lot of second-tier guys who got some pop, but there's no grab me, I got to see how many home runs these guys hit in the home run derby. And it wouldn't be the All-Star game and home run derby if we didn't have something swirling around Juan Soto. Soto didn't get elected to the All-Star game, didn't get chosen, didn't even get invited for home run derby, despite the fact he's got 23 bombs. He's kind of peeved. And he told friends he was upset. Ready for this one, John? He told friends he was upset because he had a big money bonus clause in his $765 million contract. He would get additional money if he got to the All-Star game or elected to the home run derby. So he's peeved that Mr. Richman is not getting this additional bonus segment. So there's a lot of people out there who think that this has become the Savannah Bananas, and it's not what it could be, should be, has been in years gone by. And there's been great heritage to the All-Star games and great events in the All-Star games and big plays in the All-Star games, but this has just a different feel. It's a much younger roster. I think there's 19 first-time players now in the Midsummer Night's Classic, but boy, there's a lot of barking about selection process, who got in, who didn't get in, why didn't choose this replacement guy. Cool for the Padres. 3 of their 4 relievers are in the All-Star game. Felt bad. Nick Pivetta should probably be there. He's 9-2, could have been 11-2 this season. I think Pivetta should have gotten this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity there. But that's all things Midsummer Night's Classics. You want to talk All-Star game, or are you going to talk to me about Savannah Banana Baseball?
I want to talk about this whole grudge mode thing amongst the players, because on one level, you've got guys that are saying, I don't want to play in the All-Star game. I just pitched on Friday or Saturday night, or, oh, my hip is barking a little bit, and so the guys and they're passing on the home run derby even. And then meanwhile, you got these other guys that are saying, damn it, why is that Milwaukee kid in there, only pitched 5 games and it's leaving me out of this? I think in the end, Juan Soto said the unsaid, which is it's all about the contract. And a lot of these guys get all-star bonuses. So I'm sure that means a lot more to the players than the prestige of being on the All-Star team. Because remember, when we were younger, it was a big deal to be in the All-Star game. And now it's just sort of meh. It's like the way the slam dunk contest has turned into in the NBA. It's lost its pizzazz. So I don't know. I frankly, I like seeing that Brewer kid there. I mean, this is a showcase event for the sport. So I say bring him on. And Soto, you can think that, you could talk about that with your wife, but you don't say that publicly.
There's a lot of junk that's come out of his mouth he shouldn't say publicly,
right,
but that's
exactly.
That's Mr. Me, Myself, and I.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the All-Star game, 5 o'clock on Tuesday night. We'll watch it for a while, but it doesn't carry the oomph that it did before.
Not at all.
Okay, we go from that. Mid-season evaluation, Major League Baseball. We're going everywhere with us. We get phenomenal response from people. Let's start with Padre baseball.
Yeah, some of the Padre fans think it's doom and gloom. Some other think we still have chance. What do you think, Lee?
I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to ask everybody out there on live stream. First half Padre season. Do you view it as a success? They're sitting there in second place. Or do you view it as a season of underachievement so far. I mean, Padres are 52-44. They had that great 14-3 start, but they're sub 500 since that 14-3 start. Now, positives, magic. That's what I'm calling him. Manny Machado is magic.
Oh, another magic.
What he is doing, home runs, base hits, batting average, making some spectacular defensive plays, errors aside, the guy plays magic. That's item one. Item two, how about the four horsemen in the bullpen? Good headline.
Oh, yeah.
That came from the manager, Mike Schilt. We're talking Morion, a 1.71 ERA. Jason Adam, 1.14 ERA. Suarez, 27 saves. Estrada, all those strikeouts and an ERA of just over 3. The four horsemen in the bullpen, best brigade in Major League Baseball coming out of the bullpen. Jackson Merrill comes out of this 3 for 33 black hole, hits a couple of home runs. Tell you, the playoff series with Philadelphia, John, it was electric. It just felt like a playoff series.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was back and forth, big plays, blunders, gritty pitching, fly balls taken over the fence, pulled back into play. Tremendous defensive stands. Now, the burning question, Padres are in second place right now. If Yu Darvish can continue this uptick and trend with all of his starts and get progressively better and better, and if there's a Michael King sighting sometime by mid-August, maybe they have enough to become the elite wildcard team in the National League. If nobody else gets hurt. I still don't know how they're going to execute a trade to get another bat because they just don't have anything that's tradable at AAA that anybody wants, and ownership is not going to allow them to take on contracts. So this will be intriguing to see which direction they go. There's about 5 catchers out there that the Padres are shopping at, looking at. But at this point in time, we got the trade deadline doesn't come up till July 31st. So the burning question, will ownership allow A.J. Preller to take on any more salary? And what is Preller going to give up to take on whatever he's going to take on, be it a left fielder or possibly be it another backup catcher? So you think the Padres have had a good season so far?
My letter grade is B. I know you were saying B- last week, but I'd say it's about a B. There's been moments of frustration, moments of joy, but in the end, they are where we thought they'd be, second place, 8 or 9 games over 500 and on track for a wild card.
Well, they've gone 14-3, and since then 38-41.
Yeah.
Against winning teams, they're only 20-29. Not good. And against losing teams, they're 32-15. So they beat up the bad teams, and they have not held serve against the really good teams in Major League Baseball.
Usually it's the opposite.
Yeah. So that's where they are right now. You tell me. Fans Forum chat box is open. Padre fan, you think they've had a good first half of the season, or do you think they've underachieved? I tend to think they've underachieved. That's topic 1. Topic 2, the guys they're chasing.
Oh, yeah. The LA Dodgers reset button during the All-Star break.
They really need this break. They need this break because they're so beat up. They look exhausted. They've had so many injuries. This 5-day window, aside from the guys that are going to the All-Star game, it's huge for the Dodgers to reset their rotation and obviously get some of the ailing guys off their feet and get them a little bit more rest. Ohtani continues to hit home runs. Last start, 3 innings, shutout ball. His ERA now is 1.00. And they've obviously subscribed to the formula, a slow build process. 1 inning, then 2 innings, now 3 innings. And the guy's throwing 99. He's throwing 100. He looks really, really impressive. Tyler Glasnow, first start coming off the disabled list, 5+ innings, clocked at 95, gave up 1 run. So far, so good. Blake Snell has now made 2 minor league rehab starts. He's up to 3 innings, no setbacks. He's got at least 2 more minor league starts. And Blake Trinan has had 3 bullpen appearances. Oklahoma City has pitched pretty well. So there's help on the way. I'm going to invoke this phrase. They may be in first place. They may have a $408 million payroll right now. I don't think we've seen the best of Dodger baseball yet. And if they get all these guys back healthy, they may blow everybody out in the National League West yet, despite the fact they've had some really slipshod stretches. This 7-game losing streak, you thought, wow. That's why this 5-day window to rest, get off their feet, hit the reset button, I think that's really, really huge. I think they need this break more than anybody realizes. Dave Roberts won't say it, but I will. The Dodgers look fatigued, they look worn out, and they look like they're about to cave in because of all these injuries. So now they get the 5 days off. I think it's huge. And John Riley's reaction, we're in a damn Giants cap.
I know. Yeah, the evil Dodgers, man. I remember going to Candlestick to Dodger games, and people were wearing these like Duck the Fodgers t-shirts and stuff. It's brutal up there in San Francisco. Well, anyways, doesn't it seem like the Dodgers are sort of playing a different game than everybody? I mean, it's obviously baseball, but in terms of how they have their assets and how they're managing it and how they're getting through this season, you know, with all these injuries and all this underperformance, and yet they're still in first place by a healthy margin. So it's like they're playing themselves more than they are playing all these other teams, it seems to me. But the one thing that you brought up that I thought was interesting was the way they're using Ohtani in the beginning of games. And like you say, building 1 inning, 2 innings, 3 innings. But that is such a foreign idea in my experience with baseball, because it was like, I remember 5 years ago when they started doing the bullpen days and they would have an opener, you know, that was only slated to go 1 or 2 innings. That to me sounded kind of crazy. But has there ever been a time like this where it was planned that the starter was only going to go an inning or two?
Now, the whole bullpen concept, I would say, has really taken hold within about the last 2 to 3 years. Tampa Bay, they had all these young pitchers that had all these injury problems. Chris Archer, McClanahan, there are a couple others. They're the ones that first created the idea of bullpen day. And I first said, what do you mean bullpen day? You have all your relief pitchers throwing one day. Who's going to be ready the next day? But they put it into effect. The Dodgers really master planned it and made it really work. And then they got involved with their metrics analytics people, as witnessed by what we saw in the baseball playoffs with the Padres last year. And then it was not only a bullpen day, it was a day of matchups. My right-handers out of the bullpen against your right-handed hitters. And that next inning, after we get you out, my left-hander is going to do it against your left-handers. So, I mean, now the analytics guys are coming into play with bullpen days. It's a strange feel, but you got to do it. And the Dodgers have had to do it a lot. I mean, Dodgers are doing 2 bullpens days over a 6-day span for the last 3 weeks just because all these injuries. Sometimes it's blown up in their face. That was a byproduct of why they had a 7-game losing streak there. But they've kind of mastered it, but you don't want to have to rely on it because it's going to take a toll.
Well, on one level, it's cool that it's innovative, you know, and like they're figuring out ways to win games in different ways. And you get to see your star pitchers, you know, build up in front of you in the dugout rather than having them play in Class A ball somewhere when you can't really see their performance. But it's just, again, the bullpens now are just so specialized. Everything's different,
Yep.
You know, with how they are used. But yeah, you got to love that. Though, you know, the one thing about the Dodgers, though, I think part of their bullpen game strategy is they always bring up some, you know, sucker from Oklahoma City that's going to come there and have to eat like 120 pitches and just get worked.
If you're going to get work. But sometimes those guys come up and they give you Landon Knack, who's probably their top AAA guys, come up. He's given them some quality starts over a year and a half, but they always send him back because he does have options left. So that's where we are. Dodger baseball. You agree with me or disagree with me? They have yet to show us their best baseball yet. And if they get everybody back healthy, even Giant fan, my co-host partner, thinks I'm probably right this time.
Well, you definitely. I think so.
We haven't seen the best baseball yet. Okay, so that's all things Padres, Dodgers, and of course we let off with the All-Star game. Is it becoming Savannah Banana Baseball? Feel free, jump into the Fans Forum chat box. When we're done with topics on the table, you're going to take over this podcast. We go from that mid-season evaluation of everybody in Major League Baseball. You ready for this?
I am, but can I ask you a preview question first?
Do it.
What's your whole take on Savannah Banana?
I guess it's entertaining. It's AKA Harlem Globetrotter basketball.
Yes.
But you see it once and okay, that's fine. Is it important? To me, no. I watched it once. CBS Sunday Morning did a mini documentary on it. It was kind of cool. So you bring the kids to it and you have fun, and one time only.
They're selling out, man. They're making a lot of money, and they're bringing old major league players into play.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they had Bill Spaceman Lee pitching like at one of the games in the last week or so.
Well, he fits perfectly.
Yeah. So it's all good. But let's keep going here.
Okay, we move on. Midseason evaluation, Major League Baseball, report cards, if you will. Let's talk about the American League. Top teams. Tell you, Yankees. The Yankees are having a pretty good season. And that's hard for me to understand and believe, considering how many injuries that they've had. There is no Garrett Cole there. They just lost Clark Schmidt. They've never really had Marcus Stroman. Their bullpen has been something like a black hole, and yet look at where the Yankees are in the American League standings. Judge has had a good season. Paul Goldschmidt, in what might be his farewell tour, has had a 280 hitting season with some power. Cody Bellinger's played a great outfield, and he had 3 home runs on Sunday. He's done well. Jazz Chisholm, back off the disabled list, hitting home runs. The kids, Wells, Dominguez, Rice, they've done pretty well. So I've been really impressed. Now, there's a wear and tear factor. Max Fried has got some problems now with ongoing blisters, and Carlos Rodon, who had a great start, has kind of cooled off. But between those guys, they got 21 wins. So this is a Yankee team that somehow has survived the loss of Garrett Cole, 3 starters, and a bunch of guys in a bullpen. Still do not have Luis Hill back. So, I mean, the Yankees are hanging in there. That's been a bit of a surprise. And then there's Toronto. I didn't expect this because some of their stars had really had letdown seasons the last 2 years. Vlad Guerrero is just having a terror of a type of season. He's hitting the hell out of the ball. Bichette in a contract year, about to become a free agent, pounding it. George Springer has really bounced back, has had a really good season. And they don't have sexy names in their rotation. You know, Kevin Gausman doesn't scare you.
He's pretty good.
Damn right.
Yeah.
Look at his numbers. So, I mean, Toronto has really had themselves a good start to the season. Detroit, now they're fraying a little bit. They're going to have to go make a deal, probably get another pitcher. But the unique thing about the Tigers is they're doing it with homegrown talent. You look at their batting order. They're all their own. The Riley Greens of the world, the Torkelsons of the world, the Colton Keats of the world. I mean, it's a pretty good job of roster building they've done with all their own players. And obviously, Tarek Skubal is just a spectacular starting pitcher. You'll get a look at him as a starter for the American League in the All-Star game. Detroit's going to have to make an acquisition because now their pitching staff is starting to fray at the back end. That being said, still a pretty good team. And then there's Houston. You're not going to boo, are you? Or you're not going to curse?
I'm going to pound on the trash can.
Tell you what, you look at the Astros, they're doing it with a lot of their own kids. They've drafted really well. Hunter Brown has stepped in. Ronel Blanco has stepped in that rotation. They've pitched really well. And they virtually lost everybody with injuries. Framber Valdez has been able to go to the top of the rotation and stay there. Josh Hader's having himself a statistically really good season. And they've done this while surviving no Bregman. Alex Bregman went to Boston. I thought this thing was going to cave. Instead, Houston's got kids and kids and kids that just keep coming up. And they had themselves a good start to the season. There's some people who had some real bad stretches. Baltimore just doesn't have enough pitching. And they've got all these good young everyday players. They just don't have enough arms. And, of course, losing Corbin Burns and they've had surgeries has really hurt them. Texas, they've got guys having really bad years. Corey Seager's been on the DL twice, maybe 3 times. Adolis Garcia is not the same player right now. He's been hurt. Texas is just, they had pitching, all kinds of pitching problems. So Texas, to me, has been a major disappointment. So that's my viewpoint of the American League. Any of those names there at the top of the standings surprise you as to what they've done, or who surprises you the most in the American League?
Well, the Blue Jays, seeing their name up there was kind of a shocker. You know, you like seeing the Tigers having some success, but that AL Central, just a lot of meh teams right there. I know Kansas City's on the come and everything. Houston, yeah, I just when you think they're going to be sidelined, yeah, their kids start playing well. they have a great fan base. We went to a couple of games there in Houston to watch them against the Padres. But I want to go back to the Yankees. Aaron Judge is unbelievable. I mean, didn't he just get to 350 home runs faster than any other player?
Anybody.
That's insane. So, like, if his career projects out consistently, like no injuries, he's going to end up being like the all-time greatest, maybe hitter in how many different categories?
Yeah, he could wind up with 650 home runs. Now he has had a history of getting hurt. So far this season, he stayed healthy, and he's gone through some bad stretches where he just strikes out and he doesn't get base hits and he's not hitting for yards. So interesting to see. But they've got some other guys. Cody Bellinger's had a really impressive season.
Yeah, he has.
At Yankee Stadium.
He's very up and down.
Yeah. Yankees, really good. Detroit looks like they're knocking at the door, but they're going to have to do something from a pitching standpoint to support their everyday guys. So that's all things in the American League. Let's go to the National League.
The National League, here we go. Got a few more teams on the list. Start with Chicago.
Let's start with the Cubs. I guess I look at the general manager who used to be in San Diego, and I'd say, holy cow, what a job of roster building he has done. And it's this Cubs team, I just think it's got an awful lot of talent to it. I mean, you look at Chicago, and they got Peter Crow-Armstrong. That's must-see TV when he plays. Going to play in the All-Star game. Got to watch him play. Boy, he comes so quick to become an established guy. He's got 25 home runs. Nobody expected that. So PCA is one guy. The pitching, Shoto Imanaga, Matt Boyd. Matt Boyd, who was on the scrap pile because of forearm surgeries. What a career season he's had. So their pitching staff is much deeper than anybody realized. And the Cubs have just got a lot of plug-in guys that show up every day and play. Interesting. The first baseman's hitting home runs at Wrigley Field. He was an ex-Dodger, Michael Bush.
Oh, yeah.
Who they moved in a trade. Now he's 25 home runs.
Thank God he's still not with the Dodgers.
Yeah, for Chicago. So I think that the Cubs have really been impressive. And obviously the roster building that's been done there by Jed Hoyer, the ex-Padre general manager, is really impressive. Dodgers. Well, we've talked extensively about all things Dodger baseball. I firmly believe their best baseball is just ahead of us. If they get everybody on the field simultaneously healthy, wow. And they're in first place, and they have had 18 pitchers on the disabled list this season, and they're in first place.
That's just insane. Now,
I do think there's a deal coming. I think that this loss of Max Muncy is huge. They're going to have to make a transaction to go find somebody to go play third base who's got some pop and can obviously play well defensively. New York Mets. Let me throw this out to you. What a season they've had without much contribution from Mr. Me, Myself, and I. And look at the Mets and where they are record-wise. You go look up the statistics of the polar bear, Pete Alonso. Look at the kind of season Francisco Lindor is having. Look at the left fielder, Brandon Nimmo, the kind of stats that he's running up there, including home runs. Now, they're doing this despite injuries at second base. Vientos at third base has been hurt. The young catcher Alvarez is hurt and went back to the minor leagues. And they're doing this with 5 starting pitchers who've been on the DL for chunks of time. Kodai Senga's been hurt, just got back. Frankie Montas has yet to pitch. Minaya has just pitched 1 game. He's been out all spring into the summer. They just lost Griff Canning, who had a real bounce-back season. They lost Paul Blackburn. And look at where they are. Now, the Mets are not going to get all those pitchers back because some of those guys are gone for extended periods. And then we're waiting to see if Juan Soto is going to be what Juan Soto is supposed to be, which to me, anything under 310, anything under 40 home runs based on the amount of money he's being paid, that's a disappointment. And Mr. Me, Myself, and I is hitting 260 with 23 home runs and has had some spots in which he's just been MIA. So keep an eye on that. My surprise team, maybe in the National League, has got to be Milwaukee. I mean, they're doing it with a bunch of no-names on the pitching staff, young guys on the pitching staff, although obviously Mizorowski coming up from AAA, he's just been electric in the games that he started. Christian Yelich has had a real bounce-back season. For the first time in about 3 years, he stayed healthy. And Jackson Churio, who arrived as a rookie last year with great minor league credential. He's having himself a really good season in Milwaukee. And there are so many games above 500. It's absolutely amazing. You look at the standings and say, Milwaukee? And they're doing that without Brandon Woodruff. Now, Brandon Woodruff, after 2 years of surgeries, made his first start and was really, really impressive. So, the job that's being done in Milwaukee, not getting any accolades nationally, that's a pretty good baseball team. Now, are they going deep into October? I don't know, but I guarantee you they're going to be in October. And in San Francisco, Buster Posey's tried really hard. And strong pitching, which really surprised a lot of people. Robbie Ray, wow, I didn't expect that.
He's amazing.
Yeah. So strong pitching, bullpen by committee, some guys with power strokes, although collectively their team batting average is lousy.
Yeah. But
they hit enough home runs and they get really good pitching. I'm waiting for Raf Devers to really make an impact there. Now he's hurt. He's got a disc problem in his back that has just surfaced. So they don't know the depth of that injury. They think the 5 days off is going to help Devers a great deal. And look where the Giants are in the standings. They're just right there with the Padres fighting for second place. All that, and Justin Verlander's 0-7. They don't have no wins from Verlander, who's been trying to come back from this neck and back problem. He's pitched well, but hadn't gotten support, then hasn't pitched well. And that's just a byproduct of when you've been injured as to whether or not you can survive. In terms of the teams that haven't done well that were expected, Atlanta never got out of spring training. It's just been one significant setback after another with the Atlanta Braves. His pitching staff has just been destroyed. Strider, Schwellenbach. They're down 4 starters in the pitching staff and have had nagging injuries. Acuna was out up until a month ago. Michael Harris has just not been the same kid he was as a rookie when he first came up. So Atlanta is just not the same team. And Arizona's been just destroyed by injuries to the rotation. They hit the hell out of the ball. They can't get pitching. They can't keep their starters healthy, and their bullpen's deplorable. So Arizona probably at the trade deadline might be a seller. The rumor mill is that they're shopping Zach Gallen, who could be a walk free agent. Mm-hmm. But Arizona's been destroyed by injuries. So the disabled list has just wiped out Atlanta and what Arizona is. Anything on that National League list? Do you kind of agree with me? Cubs? You're kidding me. What a job by Jed Hoyer.
Well, before we get to that, what about the Phillies? I think you skipped them.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I didn't mean to skip Philadelphia. Philadelphia, great bats, but they've had injuries. Bryce Harper right now is not quite Bryce Harper yet, but they've had injuries. Philadelphia's rotation is really good, and that's a lot without Aaron Nola, who's been on the deal for an extended period of time. But Philadelphia, 5 deep in the rotation, led by Zach Wheeler and that entourage of left-handers. Their Achilles heel right now is a bullpen. Their bullpen is really shabby, and I would assume that Philadelphia is going to try to rent a closer. They had bullpen problems last year and the year prior to that, so keep an eye on that. But to me, the Cubs are the most surprising team of all.
Yeah, I agree with you. But we knew they'd be good, but they're a lot better than we thought they'd be. That Imanaga pitcher is really kind of sneaky talented, because he doesn't throw that hard. He's like a Japanese Greg Maddux or something, So he does a great job. The Brewers, I agree. The Brewers are like one of those teams that they're usually anywhere from very not great, but like good, to sort of mediocre. And they make the playoffs often because it's a weak division, but there are no like sexy names on that team. It's always kind of like below the radar, don't you think?
Well, it's Yelich and a bunch of kids. Now, Churio's a young kid who can really, really play, but, they'll have a good season. They've had a surprising season to me, but Chicago, just to be where Chicago is right now is just amazing. And I tell you, there's been so many accolades about who's come from Japan. Nobody's paid attention to what Imanaga's done for a year and a half. Good. Yeah, and now he just came off the disabled list, had a hamstring problem, but I swear his record in a year and a half, it might be 24-7 in a year and a half.
Wow.
Nobody expected that. So he's pitched pretty well. So that's all things in the American League, all things in the National League.
Hey, I had a quick comment.
Fans forum chat box is open for the Giant fan opens his mouth here.
Well,
tell us what you think.
I didn't get a chance to talk about my Giants.
Go ahead.
So I want to talk about them because I was just up in San Francisco. I'll tell you what, the fans in San Francisco are just sort of, they're pleasantly surprised. They're overperforming where they thought they'd be. And but here's a great bit that I heard. I was driving up in the city, listen to 104.5 KFOG doing the pregame show. And it's Dodgers Giants rivalry. It's a big time thing going on in San Francisco. And they brought up the Padres in this conversation. And these are the pregame hosts. And they said, the Joe Davis, the announcer for the Dodgers, made a comment that was, hey, that Giants-Dodgers rivalry is all cool and it's based on history and all these great memories. But right now, the Dodger-Padre rivalry is better than the Giants-Dodger rivalry. And the funny thing was just listening to San Franciscans. They're like, oh, my God, this can't be possible. There cannot be anything bigger than the Giants-Dodgers rivalry. So it was like blasphemous the way this was going down on it. But it's just funny, these fan bases and how persnickety they can be.
The burning question. I haven't seen any team wearing those colors, that hat, in postseason play against the Dodgers recently. That's why the rivalry has changed. The Padres have been in the playoffs year after year after year. Well, the Giants in the playoffs recently.
I think it was like 3 years ago. Weren't they in the playoffs like in 21 or something like that?
Yeah,
they had a really good record. They were a surprising record. But yeah, they haven't gone deep. But the Dodgers and the Giants have only faced off together once in the playoffs in all that 100 years of history.
Okay, so I'm sorry for Giant fan that let's deal with a little reality here. Padres right now are a better franchise than the Giants are, and the Padres have had more heated games with the Dodgers than San Francisco has. When San Francisco gets good, it's been a while since Bochy was there. When they get good, then I guess we could start talking about the rivalry again.
The Giants are on the come. I mean, I think I really think Buster Posey is the right guy. He's taking some risky moves, but what you would expect from a young, intelligent young man who's played the game. I think and the Giants are always going to have a lot of money. So I think that there's a bright future ahead for San Francisco.
Yeah, I think, the acquisition of Adames was step one.
Yeah.
The trade for Ralph Devers, that's step two. Obviously, they took a flyer in Verlander. Hasn't worked yet. Doesn't mean it can't work if he gets healthy. That guy's got a lot of grit. They got a lot of really good young pitchers. I know Logan Webb's one of the best pitchers in baseball that nobody ever talks about because he didn't have a lot of support around him.
Logan Webb always reminds me of Jesse Plemons, the actor that was in Breaking Bad. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but anyways, the other name there is Matt Chapman, who's just a hell of a player, although his hitting has been a little bit subpar. But yeah, they're on the come. And the Giants, who knows? They could make the playoffs this year. They're not that far out of it. They're far better off than the Diamondbacks are.
Oh, so now you're a Giant fan. Last week when you were yelling at me as a Padre fan.
Well, I wear two hats. So the Giants are my childhood team, but the Padres are my adult team. And I live in San Diego now. So my allegiance is actually flipped. I used to be Giants 1, Padres 2, but probably for the last 30 years, I flipped that order.
As long as you understand, I have a right to argue with you all the time. That's all.
That's okay.
Okay. American League, National League, you got a comment, fans forum, chat box is open. We're not done. I got two more baseball topics here before we get to halftime. John, next one.
Yeah, this is a story here. It looks really interesting about the salary cap idea.
We talked last week about Rob Manfred going public and pounding Tony Clark, the head of the union, saying that Clark was not looking after all the players that he represents in the Baseball Players Association. Manfred has taken it upon himself now to start visiting every club and holding meetings with their 26-man roster just to tell them what he thinks about the state of the economy in baseball. And baseball right now has got all-time record attendance, all-time TV ratings, all-time revenue. But the players' salary breakdown is all the money's going to the stars. Manfred stood up at a meeting in Baltimore, stood up at a meeting in Atlanta, and he told the players 10% of the players are making 72% of the baseball pie in terms of salaries. 90% of you guys in this room are not making what you probably should. And he says, do you know that in the NFL, under their collective bargaining agreement, players get 50%. NBA, they get 50. NHL, they get 50. Baseball gets 47. And then he went after Tony Clark and said, Tony Clark needs to understand he represents the stars, aka Juan Soto, but he also represents the backup catcher and the 11th pitcher and the 26th man on a roster. And he says Tony Clark does not understand that. So at the end of the day, Manfred is sales pitching everybody. We want a salary cap. We're going to rework revenue sharing. Now, I maintain you got a luxury tax, which kind of acts as a cap. But I also think they have to have a floor to spending, and Clark refuses to accept that. So anyhow, Manfred wraps up these meetings and saying, we need a salary cap. It's working in every other sport, but it's not working for you guys. The 90% of you guys in this room, this is not working for you. A cap would help. Anyhow, Bruce Meyer, who's the right-hand man to Tony Clark, he's the lead negotiator. Bruce Meyer lost his mind over the weekend. Bruce Meyer said, all you players need to do, and they sent out a circular to every player in Major League Baseball, all you players need to do is understand in the NFL, there's bloodshed every year. In the NFL, with its salary cap, all veteran players are getting cut or forced to take pay cuts so they can pay the quarterbacks the mega money. And by the way, if you're a baseball player and you like the NBA, do you realize with a salary cap in the NBA, there's usually 2 max players on each club making the big bucks, and there is no middle class. Everybody else is earning a lot less money. So the unions of the appearance, the salary cap leads to bloodshed on everybody's roster. And say, all you need to do is look what happens in the NFL and the NBA. So we got both sides standing on street corners, firing gunshots at each other right now. So John, Mr. Capitalist that you are, go ahead, expound.
Well, isn't it funny how the argument sounds similar to what we hear in politics? You know, the top 10% are getting 70% of the pie and you're not getting your fair share and everything else. Now, I think the main objective should be to grow the pie, you know, and to bring in more revenue and make this, you know, fruitful for everybody. But, you know, it is, you know, there's only X dollars to go around. And, you know, when Juan Soto gets all that money, you know, you might say that's less for the players today, but when they do these deferred contracts, there's actually, like, you know, on the Dodgers had a lot more money to spend on middle-class players on that roster, you know, because of the deferrals. There's creative ways to get around it.
Okay, that's where we are right now. This topic is not going to go away. Fans Forum chat box is open. Do you think a salary cap and a floor to spending is a way to stop the inequity in baseball? I mean, here at breakfast this morning, the Dodger payroll was $408 million. At breakfast this morning, the Miami Marlins payroll was $85. Do you think that's good for baseball?
No, it's not. I mean, I think the Florida spending is more important than the salary cap. Yeah, you're looking at these, you know, team payrolls as like stock market, you know, breakfast this morning. The Dodgers payroll, that's still fluctuating, isn't it? As they're adding guys, sending them back down to the minors.
Yep. And they're not done, because is Nolan Arenado going to Dodger Stadium with his $24 million a year deal? I mean, that's the rumor. Dodgers need a third baseman, and he wants to come home to Los Angeles and play and finish up there. And that's $24 million coming in the front door. So that payroll may still go up, but it's Dodger dollars. There's no limit on Dodger dollars.
Yeah, they could just print more money.
It's like you and the wife on the credit card.
Oh,
There's no limit.
Yeah, no limit.
Okay, last topic on the table before we get to this baseball-heavy first half here on this Monday bonus podcast involves what happened yesterday at the baseball draft.
The MLB draft, Sunday surprises.
Yeah, it was really strange. Tremendous year of college players in the draft. Top of the board, the Washington Nationals shocked everybody. They needed pitching, and instead they got a shortstop. High school kid. He's only 17 years of age. His name is Eli Willits, shortstop from Oklahoma. They're going to try to sign him this week. That was surprise one. Surprise two, everybody in the world knows the Angels need pitching. They got a pitcher, but they didn't get top-ranked College World Series pitcher. They took a kid from San Diego, Ty Bremner, Cal Santa Barbara. Kid had 111 strikeouts in 97 innings pitching at a lower level. opened a lot of eyes, stunned a lot of people, led to a lot of heat directed to Perry Manassian as to why you took this pitcher and you bypassed the great college pitchers that have been in the College World Series representing LSU, Tennessee, etc. So that was a stunner. Seattle at number 3 took the guy that everybody thought was going number 1, LSU left-hander Cade Anderson, 164 strikeouts in 95 innings. He just signed an $8.8 million contract just before we're going on the air this morning with the Mariners. Colorado, which needs tons of pitching, instead went for a high school shortstop, legacy player. Colorado took Ethan Holiday, Matt Holiday's youngest son, big shortstop, 6'4" star, high school, Oklahoma. They're going to probably get him signed, but they needed pitching, but instead they bypassed it. Cardinals at number 5 took the star pitcher from the University of Tennessee, Liam Doyle. He was supposed to go 1 or 2, 12-4 record, not a flamethrower, crafty, but a really good pitcher. He goes to the Cardinals. Pittsburgh took a high school pitcher from Corona, California, really good young arm, Seth Hernandez, but that's years away before he gets to the major leagues. Padres didn't draft till 25, and the player they wanted was a third baseman from the high school ranks in Washington. He went right ahead of the Padres pick. He went to the Houston Astros. So the Padres at 25 took a monstrously big left-handed pitcher, Cruz Schoolcraft, Beaverton, Oregon, 6'8". Now, gangly, 97-mile-an-hour fastball, can be really good, can be really erratic. He's just a young pup. Last year, they took 2 huge left-handed pitchers, too, in Cash Mayfield and Boston Bateman. They're both pitching in Class A here at Lake Elsinore and have had some decent success first year in organized ball. So this was a bit of a surprise that they've taken Cruz Schoolcraft, another left-hander. Dodgers didn't draft till 40 and 41. They took a really good pitcher from the University of Arkansas, Zach Root, and they took a very good second baseman outfielder from formerly at Utah by the name of Charles Davalon. So the draft was really weird at the top because guys who needed pitching did not take pitching, and the top guys dropped down a couple of slots. It was really, really surprising early first round.
Cruz Schoolcraft.
Yeah.
That's a good name. The way you describe him sounds like a young Randy Johnson.
Exactly. Wild as hell, and just you never quite know, but he's got 3 pitches. He's a pitcher first baseman, but Padres are going to zero in and make Schoolcraft be a starting pitcher at 6'8".
Yeah, no, right on. And then, we got the Angels, Perry Manassian. You're at the number 2 overall pick. You don't screw around and make a reach. You got to pick one of the blue bloods, one of the can't miss guys, right?
Everybody was of the opinion they were going to take Cade Anderson or Liam Doyle, LSU or Tennessee, who pitched in the College World Series and pitched a lot.
Yeah.
And instead they took Brenman. Brenman's a hell of a story. It's a hell of a kid. He lost his mother last month, a long fight with cancer. Kid had a really banner season despite everything that was whirling around his family. The kid is 6'4", so they're going to build on his frame. But UCSB is a different level than if you're playing at LSU or pitching for the Tennessee Volunteers. So it's just people just shook their head again about everything that the Angels are doing. The Angels a couple of years ago spent all 21 of their picks on pitchers, and not one of them's been an impact pitcher in Anaheim.
Brutal. Just brutal.
So that's where we are. Okay, those are all things baseball. We spent an awful lot of time with that being the lead stories today. Fans Forum chat box is open. You got an opinion, express it. When we're done putting all these other topics on the table, this podcast then belongs to you. Want you to join us. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. While you were gone drinking wine in San Francisco with your friends, it was 99 freaking degrees here. Do you know to this minute, I have not turned the air conditioning on in my house. Still, because of the windows and doors that I purchased, I want to say 5 to 7 years ago from DIXIELINE. And I'll tell you, that's one of the positive things about what DIXIELINE's got to offer all the citizens here. But you take the ball, you run with it. Want to talk about the unique aspect of what DIXIELINE's all about?
Well, I mean, just so many great things to talk about with those guys. But you're right. Doors and windows is a very competitive market. There's a lot of companies out there that are selling replacement windows. Dixieline does a great job. They bring their people out there. They'll measure. They'll make recommendations. Maybe even some of these guys that show up for Dixieline, they're like interior design level people that kind of have that special eye to look for that perfect window in the perfect place. And they'll come in, you can do the installation. It's a one-stop shop, and they clean up afterwards, and it's good as new when they're finished.
They do it in one day.
Yeah, real fast.
It's absolutely amazing. And so I got windows and doors, and they keep the hot weather out of my house in the summer, and in the winter, my house is warm. Cold weather's outside the front door because everything is sealed. It's just, the quality has just been amazing. Dixieline Lumber, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. The only thing we could recommend, just go to Dixieline.com. Just look at all the different things that Dixieline offers. It's just not a lumber company per se. They excel at that. But all the things they make available to the homeowners. Dixieline Lumber. Build it, fix it. We guarantee you will enjoy it in 2025. When we're done with hot topics today, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, you take it over. Fans Forum chat box. The guy with the Giants hat's going to explain how you can be part of this podcast.
Well, everyone's jumping in here. I see John and Joey and Angel and Steffi and Casey and Showtime LA, and who else is in there? Carlos and Jaime, and
you say jumping in or getting ready to jump
Callan.
on?
Yeah, I mean, they're all piling in for the first part. We've been doing the first segment this last 51 minutes. They're ready to go. They want to start Fans Forum right now.
Well, we'll get to that. Fans Forum coming up. You like sports? Please check my website. It's all written every day. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. And on the homepage, there's an orange box. Fill it out. Join our email list, Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You'll get 2 emails virtually every day from us with a lot of data that we think you'll really enjoy. Want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. When you do that, you'll get the alerts every time we put additional videos up, and we do that a lot during the week, especially on the weekend. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps us with our ratings. Give us a 5-star rating. That helps us too. And of course, I want you to join me on social media. Just type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton on X, hit the follow button, or just go to Hacksaw 1090, hit the follow button. Every time you'll get the alerts every time I put something up on social media on X, including the very popular, though you won't always agree with the question, Fans Forum questions of the day, my mini polls. You'll get access to all that when you join me. Okay, ready for the second half? Because we got a few more topics here to get.
Yeah, I mean, it's been all baseball. So let's talk a little bit about the NFL. Camps are opening.
Camps are opening. Got 2 teams in camp already. The Chargers and the Detroit Lions both reported on Saturday because they're in the Hall of Fame game. So they start camp early. Couple of Charger items. I'm going to go through this notebook for you fairly quickly. Burning question for the Chargers: is Justin Herbert ever going to win a playoff game? I think offensively they've built this thing where I think they look ready to really have a breakout season. But just as I say that, we get the scary story about what happened on July 4th. Najee Harris, the running back, suffers an eye injury in a firecracker incident that injured a couple of people that he was with. One guy lost a number of fingers on his hands. The agent will only say Harris will be ready for the start of the season. That leads me to believe he's not going to be at a training camp and maybe limited. He's got some type of abrasions and stuff around the top of the eye. We don't believe there's been a loss of eyesight, but that's pretty scary. Chargers must have had a heart attack when they found out that Najee Harris had an eye injury. And the burning question, Quentin Johnston, is he going to make this team stay on this team? Is he going to contribute to this team? Because they brought a whole pile of wide receivers in, led by rookie Trey Harris, who, by the way, is not in camp. Trey Harris officially became a holdout on Saturday. He has not signed his contract as a second-year guy. He wants full guaranteed money. Chargers have said no to that. So there's positives on offense. To me, the biggest question mark with the Bolts has to be they got 5 young defensive tackles. None of them have been real established starters in the NFL. Who's going to hold up there? LA Rams, so close with Matthew Stafford last year in the postseason. Everybody comes back, and now you add Devontae Adams, who's been very positive. about his building relationship with the quarterback, the building relationship and respect with Sean McVay. Is this the year the Rams take the final step? Can they get back to the Super Bowl? In Philadelphia, a lot of conversation as they've opened their camps. That head coach flat out told them last year was last year. The only thing that counts is this year. Pay attention. To me, my big question for that coaching staff, you ran off 8 players from a Super Bowl champion team. A lot of them are a lot younger guys, including a couple of young defensive linemen. A little bit surprised about why. Why such transition on your roster from what was a pretty good young Super Bowl team? Detroit, are they ready to go to the Super Bowl with Dan Campbell? Are they ready to go to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff as quarterback? They've been so close. They are getting Aiden Hutchinson back. He will be ready for the start of exhibition games. He, of course, had a broken leg last season. Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, you ever going to win a playoff game? This postseason record's not very good. That's a really good football team they've got in Baltimore. So now there's the next step forward. And then there's Buffalo. Is Buffalo going to get to the Super Bowl in the Josh Allen era? They've been so close, but they've always had that Kansas City Chief thing in front of them. That remains to be seen. Houston, what a season they had last year with the kid C.J. Stroud. Now they've added running backs to that group, retooled the offensive line. Is C.J. Stroud to take the next step forward? Will Houston become more than just a playoff team, but rather a team that goes deep into postseason? And at Kansas City, where they say they're going to throw the ball down the field this year, the question is anybody going to protect the quarterback just trying to throw the ball down the field? We'll find out. New left tackle, new right tackle, younger guys out on the edge because the guys haven't gotten the job done for Patrick Mahomes, and it's not quite the same team, but yet they got all these Super Bowl wins up until last year. So those are hot storylines. First days of NFL camps again. Teams start pouring in this week into next weekend. So we'll be talking a ton more NFL football going forward. But John, podium is yours, and it's not even third and long, so give me some comments.
July 14th, man. We're already here. I mean, the NFL camps, yeah, because usually that Hall of Fame game is in the last week of July, yes, isn't it? So I have a question about the Chargers. You know, I'm getting ready to think about preseason games. We used to always see Easton Stick out there, and he's not on the Chargers anymore. Who's the backup quarterback?
Oh, you had to ask me, didn't you? I can't remember. Off the top.
But they made some switches there, though.
Yes, they did. Yeah, I've got too many names in my head right now. I'd have to think about that, but he's not going to play anyhow.
Well, we're going to see him in the preseason.
Oh, yes. But
yeah,
Justin Herbert will be the guy.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Taylor Heineke.
Oh, Heineke
came in towards the end of last season. He was kind of a role player, etc. So he'll be one of the backup guys, but I think he is probably going to be the guy.
All right.
So that's it.
I mean, it's just so early to talk about football. I'm not even prepared to ask a lot of questions. I'm just find it fascinating that we're starting to talk about it already.
You're in a damn Giants hat, so your brain's not.
The boys of summer, San Francisco version. Yeah.
NFL, those are hot topics I just posted for you. Some unique questions going forward. Obviously excited to see what the Rams are going to be with the arrival of Devontae Adams. And if I had room, I would have put the Raiders logo up there too. There's a lot of enthusiasm about Raider football, but a lot of question marks about so many new pieces in the puzzle box with Raider football. So that's NFL football. Fans Forum chat box is open if you got a question and answer a statement. By the way, they're playing basketball again. Didn't we just get done with the NBA playoffs about 15 minutes ago?
Playoffs, yeah, that was in mid-June. Jeez. And now the summer league is starting. There's a lot going on in the NBA.
I popped this up here. Let's do this real quick. Everybody watched the first game of the NBA Summer League out of Las Vegas. Cooper Flagg. Now, it wasn't dynamic in the first game. You could tell that he was really struggling with the size, the jumping jack ability of guys that he was trying to post down low. He wound up with 10 points, but he played a complete game. He had rebounds, he had steals, he had transition baskets down the floor. He was pretty decent. His second game, he scored 31.
Hell yeah.
He went crazy. Anyhow, they just announced he's done enough. He's not going to play the final 2 weeks of the Las Vegas Summer League. Yeah. They're going to take him away. He played a lot of minutes in the first two games, but that's an impressive guy. Just ask Bronny James. Bronny James tried to post him defensively, and Cooper Flagg just tore him apart.
Well, that's a size mismatch.
Oh, yeah, for sure. In terms of the Lakers, Bronny's first 2 games, 2 for 8 shooting. Now, Bronny is going to play tonight. Lakers play the Clippers tonight. The big story with the Lakers right now is a journeyman forward by the name of Cole Swider, played at Miami for Pat Riley. He's averaging like 21 points a game in a couple of these Las Vegas Summer League games. He can stroke it. Dalton Connect's got a bit of a knee issue, so he's not played the last 2 games. That bears watching, but Swider has played a lot of minutes for the Lakers. Of course, DeAndre Ayton is not playing because it's a Summer League. Utah, Ace Bailey has not played the last 2 games. He had the crummy first game, played better the second game, has been MIA the last 2 games. I'm a little bit surprised that one guy who has played is Walter Clayton, the Florida guard, Utah drafted.
Yeah.
He's played really, really well, had 21 points in his last start. So it'll be interesting to see how Utah rotates those guys. Let's talk about Charlotte. Con Kneppel, the kid out of Duke, 3-point shooter.
Yeah.
They got a lot of young guys in Charlotte. They think he's going to make a big difference. He's been a little starstruck by this level of competition. His lone start in the Vegas Summer League, 1 for 8 shooting threes. Whoa.
Yeah.
So he's have to find his bearings. Miami, Keyshawn Johnson, Aztec.
Yeah.
Went to Miami. Heat, free agent. So he's played a lot of minutes. He looks chiseled. He looks much bigger in the body. 9 points, but 8 fouls. 8 fouls.
Right.
In the Summer League, even though you would foul out because of the Summer League rules, you get the chance to have 8 fouls too. Keyshawn Johnson, 9 points and 8 fouls. The bigs, he's having a tough time defensively. And I'm waiting for Lamont Butler to get the chance. He hasn't played yet. He's been in Atlanta. They got like 22 guys sitting on the bench and has not gotten off the bench yet, the other Aztec Kentucky star. So that's where we are, all things NBA Summer League. Interesting tonight. It will be on TV. The Lakers, Clippers. You get the chance to see Bronny, I guess, if that's important to you. But go ahead.
Now, the Summer League didn't used to be a thing like 20 years ago or
10 years ago. It's become a thing in the last 3 years because ESPN's elected to make basketball one of their cornerstone programming things. So it's become a thing. And then all the teams started sending all their players in there. So it's become a big thing. It's become a showcase, but it's only for a short period of time.
But it used to be this was the time of closed door scrimmages and, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. I mean, because there's some people that are huge fans of any particular sport or any particular team. They want to go deep, So if you're a Laker fan and you want to see, what the Lakers have, down, where do the Lakers, they play in the South Bay. In the G League, what you got there, want to see the pipeline of players. I bet there's some people that would love to go to those games in Vegas. But for me, I watched a little on TV. That's about it. And it was a bummer. Lamont Butler, coach's decision, did not play. But I saw Keyshawn on the court. Keyshawn's one of those guys where he's like Fred McGriff in baseball. He's like, you see his silhouette and it's him, immediately. So I wish him good luck for both those guys.
Every time I turned around, he was hand in the air, fouls on me.
Yeah.
8 fouls. Jeez. Okay, that's all things basketball. Last topic on the table before we get to Fans Forum chat box. This is a busy weekend aside from all the big sports we talk about. John, go ahead.
Yeah, the high-speed sports wire. Watching that Wimbledon tennis was great.
Oh, man, the changing of the guard is now official. This will be a fun rivalry going forward. Talking Carlos Alcaraz, talking Jannik Sinner, talking about the end of the run where Novak Djokovic. Djokovic got blown out. His body is starting to betray him. He's had a great career. He's had won all those Wimbledon titles. He's got 24 Grand Slams in his entire career. But at age 38, his body is really starting to break down. So Sinner blew him out in the semifinals. Alcaraz wore down Taylor Fritz, the San Diegan, in the other men's semifinal. And then they got here, and Alcaraz on Sunday won the first set 6-4. And, of course, Alcaraz had come off the phenomenal French Open showdown with Sinner and beat him in a 5.5-hour marathon. And then Sinner just turned the table. It's like he flipped the switch. And he beat Alcaraz at the net. He beat him deep. He beat him 6-4, 6-4, 6-4, and he won it going away. He finished it with a 137-mile-an-hour serve.
Whoa.
And Alcaraz he never found his rhythm. He just never got his legs. We kept waiting for Alcaraz to start break and serve, making points, get the fans behind him. It just never happened. So Sinner from Italy really, really played a complete match, and Alcaraz just wasn't the same player in this championship go-round. I thought one of the really cool things at the end, when they came and they shook hands at the net, you could tell Alcaraz was just devastated that he'd been dominated by Sinner. Alcaraz went and sat right at midcourt, and Sinner, of course, walked around, then ran into the stands to be with his family and his team. And Alcaraz stood up the entire time that Sinner was going around the stadium, and he stood there and he clapped.
Good for him.
It was really classy.
Yeah.
It was very, very impressive. On the women's side, if you blinked, you probably missed it because it only lasted 55 minutes.
It was sad.
I was blown away that it was so lopsided along the way. But Iga Swiatek out of Poland goes 6-love, 6-love, beat her opponent, who had beaten Sabalenka in the women's semifinals, which was a shocker. But she was not competitive at all. It was really lopsided. So, but Swiatek has had stretches where she's played well, and then somebody else has played well, and Sabalenka's played well, and Sabalenka self-destructs. So the women's side is wide open. There seems to be no heir apparent to the greatness of what Venus Williams was. So we'll see where it goes. But tell you, we got these two rivals on the men's side. Wow. So that's all things Wimbledon. British Open golf tournament. This is a cool story. So they're going to Ireland. They tee off Thursday in the rain and the cold, and I love Ireland. I love the summers of Ireland because you never know what you're going to get. Anyhow, they just played the Scottish Open, and Rory McIlroy finished second, stormed to the top of the leaderboard, almost won on Sunday in Scotland, got on a plane, flew to Ireland overnight. He was on the course for a practice round in the rain this morning at 7 a.m.
Oh, my God.
He is so amped. This is the second time Rory has played in the British Open in his home country of Ireland. So it's
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland. So it's fascinating. But he was here at 7 a.m. in the rain for a practice round.
Hell yeah.
So British Open on Thursday. I don't know whether you like links golf or not, but it is such a different environment. It's such a different atmosphere. The buildings, the slopes, the sky, it is so cool. So nobody goes to bed Thursday morning. Just wake up, stay up all night, and watch the beginning of the British Open. It's really cool, especially the weather, because that sucker can change just like that.
Right.
So we got the British Open to talk about. Soccer, Team USA. I hope this doesn't happen, but there are talks. This all swirls around Christian Pulisic, the captain of Team USA. Al Nassr, the Saudi big money team that has Cristiano Ronaldo, is negotiating to try to lure Christian Pulisic to leave AC Milan and go play in the Saudi League. I hope he doesn't do this. I hope he doesn't take the blood money.
Say it ain't so, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. If he wants to come back, go to the English Premier League. But those conversations are going on there right now. By the way, speaking of soccer, Club World Cup is history. Speaking of shockers, Chelsea scores 3 goals in the first half and blows out the Champions League title holder, Paris Saint-Germain.
That's big.
Paris Saint-Germain was never in that game. Cole Palmer, who I think is the next star, budding star, I think, in the English Premier League, scored 2 goals for Chelsea in that one. So that was something. I want to talk hockey for just a minute. It's a really ugly story. Toronto Star wrote a big story this past week. Those of us who broadcast hockey, I've talked about this a little bit. Legendary broadcaster Don Cherry from Hockey Night in Canada. I mean, he's an icon. Maybe he should be in the Hall of Fame. He was a longtime old Boston Bruins player, became a coach, didn't have great success as a coach, then became a media magnate. Anyhow, Don Cherry lost his job a couple of years ago on Hockey Night in Canada for saying a lot of rude, crude things on what Coach's Corner. Well, his co-anchor was a broadcaster by the name of Ron McLean, who's been there forever. They've been paired together forever. So anyhow, Don Cherry is very vocal about salute to the military. And on their Remembrance Day, which is like our Memorial Day, on their Remembrance Day, everybody wears poppies and buys poppies. So Don Cherry during the playoffs went haywire. He was talking about walking around the streets of Toronto and saw all these people that weren't wearing poppies, and everybody wears poppies in Canada. And he lost his mind, and he made reference, he made a racial slur about you people who don't buy poppies and support all of our fallen veterans. He'd read the poem Flanders, The Flowers of Flanders, World War I, World War II.
Yeah.
The guy's, he's unbelievable respect for military. He said, all you people, you should leave this country. And it had racial overtones to it.
Man, that's dumb.
Anyhow, he got terminated by Hockey Night in Canada. So the Toronto Star writes this column 3 years after the fact, insinuating that Don Cherry decided to self-destruct because he didn't want to work anymore with Ron MacLean, and he was tired of everything. And Don Cherry's got health issues, and he is 91 now. He's just retired from this legendary podcast that he's been doing, but he's an icon there. So they wrote this expose and quote Ron MacLean as saying, yeah, I think he did it on purpose because he wanted out. Now, MacLean, during the course of this diatribe, MacLean was always the straight man. He would always argue with Don Cherry after Don would make these over-the-top comments on anything and everything. Ron MacLean would jump right there and say, you can't say that on TV. You don't really believe that, do you, Don? Ron MacLean, when this racial slur stuff happened over the poppies and the Veterans Remembrance Day incident, stood there and just was silent. He said nothing for 6 weeks. And then after 6 weeks, he came back and said, that was wrong. What Don Cherry did was wrong. Why the hell didn't you say something to the point it happened on your TV with you as being the co-anchor and co-host? That was stunning. I'll give you an example of how wild Don Cherry was, because he would talk hockey. He hated Russian players. John, I almost fell off the couch one night watching this. This is when the European invasion began and all these great players from the Soviet Union came. And he didn't want Russian players in the NHL. He was a purist. He's pissed off that teams from the U.S. won the Stanley Cup because the Canadians invented the damn game. So here's a story on Don Cherry. I'm sitting there one Saturday night watching Hockey Night in Canada. He goes on the coach's corner thing, and they're talking about Russian players. I don't know whether it was Fedorov or whomever in Detroit. One of the Russians was having a great season. And Don Cherry made the comment, those guys don't belong here, shouldn't be making all that money. They're taking the money away from the Canadian kids, et cetera, et cetera. He said, geez, I wish we would have killed all their parents at the Russian front in World War II. He said that. And I couldn't believe it. And Hockey Night in Canada did not discipline him. There was such an uproar about this guy, and he was always stepping over the line. But when he said they should have killed the parents of the Russian players at the Russian front in World War II.
Make Canada great again.
Exactly. So that's the latest on Hockey Night in Canada. And Don Cherry's refuted Ron MacLean. He says our friendship is over, et cetera, et cetera. It's a big story. The old Canada Network, those followers we have in Canada, they'll probably have an opinion here. The last topic on the table, this is really weird. We're talking about the Oakview Group. The Oakview Group is a consortium, puts their money together and builds arenas and runs arenas, builds arenas all over the country. The head of that group is the former president of the Los Angeles Kings, and he's a sports entrepreneur. His name is Tim Lewicki. And he's involved with San Diego State. Oakview Group runs Snapdragon Stadium, et cetera.
Okay.
And has been involved with Viejas. Tim Lewicki was indicted at the end of last week and forced to resign from Oakview for evidently rigging bids to build new arenas. It was a big arena at the University of Texas in Austin they just built that Oakview won the bidding rights for. There was another company that was bidding. Put your legal hat on from UCSD. Take that giant hat off. Anyhow, there's this company that's bidding to build this Coliseum at the University of Texas in Austin for the Longhorns. Oakview was also bidding. Well, there were negotiations between the two, and Lewicki got the competing company to step back and not make a bid, which was kind of a stunner. Oakview won it, built the arena. It's fabulous. But now we find out that Lewicki went to this other company and offered You step away, let us win. We will give you the subcontracting licenses for services in the arena, food, parking, all that.
Yeah.
We'll sublet those contracts to your firm. Let us win this bid. They say that's bribery. Now, I don't know if it's bribery or not. Anyhow, Leiweke has been indicted by a grand jury. He's could be facing 10 years in prison. I'm shocked. I know Tim for a long time in the NHL, in the NBA. It's just man's an unbelievably successful entrepreneur that he would do this. So you tell me, because you didn't cut law class the day they taught it at UCSD. So if we're bidding on the same process and I offer you a unique, different proposal, I'll give you all the subcontracts to service the arena. Just let me build the arena, etc. Is that bribery, or is that just business being business?
That's just business, being crafty and creative. I mean, it's like people say capitalism is more about sharing than it is, more about cooperation than it is about competition. And this is a great example of it. But I know that name, Tim Leiweke. I've heard that name many times. So to me, the only thing that could twist this a weird way is if because this is a state project, right? So there probably is a lot of legal language in that, bidding process that you've got to conform to certain rules. I don't know. Maybe the state of Texas might call it collusion, who knows?
Stunning, but he's been indicted and he has been removed. And Oakview is one of the unbelievably successful companies in terms of building facilities.
Yeah.
So amazing story. Okay, so if you want to talk Wimbledon, you want to talk about the British Open, we'll talk USA soccer. Hockey fans are invited to talk about this Don Cherry controversy or this Oakview situation with Tim Leiweke. Feel free, jump on board. Fans forum chat box is open.
Comments on that too.
Go ahead.
Okay, so real quick, the Don Cherry thing with the poppies reminds me of the Seinfeld episode where why are you not wearing your AIDS walk ribbon? That Kramer used to get in trouble for because it's such a virtue signal thing. But it's just a funny comparison. The British Open. I was hanging out with my buddy over the weekend, and we were watching the Scottish Open, and it was on TV. And we were talking about how we love those tournaments in the UK because those bunkers are different than a bunker in the United States.
It is called a pot bunker.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Those things are huge. A lot of times when the guy shoots out of the bunker, they can't even see the flag, like the top of the stick, so some of those are just unbelievable. And we talked about, what was it last year? Was it the railroad track hole and all these different things at the course there?
Yeah. I mean, they rotate the British Open. It's either in Scotland or it's in Ireland. Sometime the odd occasion might be in England, but it's phenomenal. And it's links golf. And some guys do well. Scotty Scheffler does not do well on links golf. Xander Schauffele has not done well on links golf.
Wait, what do you mean links golf?
Wide open golf course, swales, wind, rain. All these courses are adjacent to the Irish Sea.
Okay, but I've never heard that term before. Yeah. Links golf.
Yeah, Google it when you have time. Yeah, it's phenomenal. They've tried to build some courses here in the States that kind of look like links golf.
Interesting.
But the weather is not the same.
Of course not.
Scotland, Ireland, I'm sorry, is different than the Valley of the Sun or Torrey Pines, etc. So yeah, but I tell you, it challenges your abilities, and it just mentally blows your mind. When the elements are bad, you got to say, okay, it's bad for Rory and it's bad for Xander. It's bad for everybody. So don't melt down because the rain is blowing in your face and it's cold. But it's great. I mean, they founded golf. That's where golf began in the 1850s, I believe, with old Tom Moore, a guy from Scotland. When you have time, Google history British Open. It's just mind-blowing how this thing began.
Have you ever heard, seen the Robin Williams skit talking about the guys in Scotland when they invented golf? And it's like, I have this great idea. I'm going to take a stick and I'm going to hit the ball 400 yards and we'll see how many times it takes to hit it to get in the hole. And all his friends went, yeah, that sounds great. So finally on the Wimbledon, first of all, at quick glance, that guy, what's his first name? Jannik Sinner?
Jannik Sinner.
Yeah, which by the way, that's a tough last name. But a quick glance, he reminded me of Jim Courier, kind of the white hat, the kind of the reddish hair and everything. 137-mile-an-hour serve.
Yeah, now he's big and rangy. Courier was more stocky.
Yeah. And then I watched the ladies championship, and I really felt bad for the American. And I remember first name was Amanda.
Yeah.
And
then New Jersey.
And she's from New Jersey, and she had a last name that sounded like an Eastern European tennis player.
Nova, I believe it is.
Yeah, that's what it was, Amos Nova. And so I just felt bad for her.
She wasn't competitive, and I said, how did she beat Sabalenka in the semifinals?
Well, it seemed to me that she got off to such a bad start. She had a lot of unforced errors, and then mentally she just sort of lost it. And then meanwhile, what was her name? Swiatek? I mean, she was just on fire. So it was the perfect mismatch. And it was over in less than an hour. 55
minutes in a final. I think it's only the second time in the history at Wimbledon that a championship match has been decided 6-love, 6-love.
Yeah, brutal.
Okay, that's all things. Topics on the table. We've done our job. You're going to do yours. Fans Forum chat box is open. Feel free to ask a question, make a statement. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials. You want ideas, they can be your best friend. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see what they have to offer. The guy with the Giants hat is the one that's controlling the red button. Ready, set, go.
Okay, we'll talk a little Giants, Dodgers here. Hey, this is from Showtime LA. Good evening, fellas. Dodgers, tough week, but huge to get a win against John's Giants. Snell, Trinan, and Sasaki all on the way. They definitely need a reliever or two at the deadline to replace Phillips.
Well, I don't think they're going to make a trade for a pitcher. Sasaki is not coming back this year. He is way behind the power curve in terms of health with the injections in the shoulder. They got to redo his mechanics. Snell could be 2 weeks out. Trinan, I think he could be called up right post All-Star break. They're talking to a lot of people about a third baseman, and the Arenado thing is out there, but that's a year and a half of big money contracts, but money is no object with Dodger dollars. So I think there's going to be an acquisition. There's going to be a transaction there. I don't know that they're going to go get another pitcher because they've got enough pitchers waiting in the wings to come back. And again, they're building Ohtani as they go. Next start, I could see him post All-Star break, maybe go 4 innings or there. Like I said, to the agony of the guy wearing the Giants hat, I don't think we've seen the best Dodger baseball yet, and that's still to come.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if assuming your theory is true, and I think it will be, I think the Dodgers are going to get better in the second half. So if you've already got a big lead, you think they're going to get better, then why would you have to deal away prospects to replace Max Muncy? He's only going to be out 6 weeks.
Yeah, but 6 weeks, and you don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back 6 weeks. And the Dodgers have had stretches where they have not hit. So if you can get proven commodity, even headed to the twilight of his career, Arenado is hitting, I think, 268 with, 14, 18 home runs, and he plays the Gold Glove third base still. So if you can get him.
It would be so Dodgers to get Nolan Arenado.
Dodgers.
Yeah, it's like I remember they got Schwarzer that one time, and they always seem to get the big name in the trade deadline.
Jack Flaherty last year. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no limit with Dodger dollars.
No.
Okay. Yeah. Next one. Thanks, Shiloh.
Okay, let's go here to Jaime, and he says, hey, Padres need a catcher and a left fielder. I don't trust Peralta and Matsui. Also, Campusano needs to be released ASAP.
Well, they may give up on Campusano. I think he's now 0 for 21, and he's got 8 bases on balls, which means he does not have a hit in 29 plate appearances, and they obviously don't believe he's a major league catcher. Otherwise, he'd be back in that rotation. But I think at the end of the day, he's probably a 4A pitcher. I don't know what his value is on the trade market, but again, where are you going to go? I mean, it was talk that they might look at Sean Murphy from Atlanta, but Atlanta's not going to give away a power hitting catcher unless they get something of significance in return. And what have the Padres got to give at the major league level unless Atlanta's just going to take a good prospect for Sean Murphy? There are some other trade rumors out there involving the Padres. There's about 4 or 5 catchers that they might look at. But see, I've taken a different bend on this. I think defensively, what Maldonado and Diaz have done behind home plate is pretty good. But their collective batting average is $190. As of this All-Star break, the two of them are hitting 190. So what do you do?
Well, the defensive metrics on Maldonado are not that good anymore. I mean, he used to be a lot better defensively. I mean, if I'm the Padres, if I'm AJ Preller, I bring up Campusano, I waive Maldonado, and I just let Campusano just play. I mean, because he's clearly killing the ball in El Paso. It's a problem with his head. And he just needs to be in a situation where he feels like he's not going to get released after going 0 for 12. He needs to relax.
But defensively, he's really been deficient. And he's been in and out of the lineup 3 years in a row. So they know what he can and can't do. And they've tried to teach him to do certain things, and he still doesn't do it.
Just so weird. I just remember he was a first-round draft pick back in the day.
He expected so much.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I think he's a 4A player. I just don't know that he's a major league hitter either. By the way, the last name that just surfaced, they are talking to the White Sox about a deal for former number 1 draft pick catcher Corey Lee. He's hitting 262 at AAA. Has not hit at the major league level very consistently, but there's been talk about him. That's another name that's kind of in the mix, so we'll just keep an eye on it. But AJ has a history of making deals. AJ, I think, will make a deal. Okay, move on.
Yeah, you can expect that. How about some Lakers talk? Go here to Carlos. Hey, Lee, would you trade LeBron to Dallas or Cleveland, to the Mavs for Cooper Flagg and Klay Thompson, or to the Cavs for Mobley and Garland?
You shouldn't drink before you join this podcast, but that's okay if you want to drink before you join this podcast. First of all, who's got room for $52.6 million? Secondly, Cleveland is not going to bust up their rotation. They love Mobley, defensive star player. Garland obviously had some injury problems, but that's firepower there. Cooper Flagg? You're kidding me. Like I say, you should not drink before you join us on the podcast.
If I'm the Lakers, I'm taking both of those deals without even blinking, right?
But that came from somebody who was drinking before I got on the podcast.
Well, it's just Laker fan is just, sometimes we're irrational when we get to our own team.
My whole opinion, and I put something up on X overnight. LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, shut the bleep up. We're running this team, and we made one deal to get a rim protector and a guy, DeAndre Ayton. And we got 3.5 star players. We don't want to hear about your unhappiness. We don't want to hear about Bronny. Just shut up and play. Because the agent just keeps talking and talking and talking. Now the latest thing is, last week the agent said, well, LeBron is considering everything in the rest of his career, and getting a championship is part of what he is considering. Dropping the hint, well, we don't think we're going to win a championship, trade me. And then last night, he indicated LeBron is not asking for a trade. Well, shut your mouth. You shouldn't have said anything to begin with. He invoked the option to stay on the final year of the deal. Nobody wants $52.6 million. Nobody's got the space to make that kind of transaction. What are the Lakers going to get? Nobody's going to give you a number 1 for a 40-year-old player. Nobody's going to give you one of those star players for a 40-year-old player. LeBron, just be quiet. Just finish this out. Play like a champion. Use your impact to make DeAndre Ayton a better basketball player. Luka, I was told, looks so different that his regimen and off-season training and diet, he just looks chiseled. He looks really different. So we'll get a closer look at him within a month or so. But the Lakers are where the Lakers are, because all the two guys are making mega money. So just shut up and play basketball. Am I wrong for saying that?
No, it's interesting. I saw a comment. I think it was in your best 15. Where, Pelinka, when he made the deal to get DeAndre Ayton, did not even consult with LeBron.
Exactly.
He only talked to Luka.
Right.
I mean, that's telling.
Well, if LeBron feels offended, tough crap. You've had a great career. You're making $52 million. Use your influence to make this a better locker room and make that center a better basketball player. I mean, if Ayton can be what he was when he first broke in with Phoenix after his career at the University of Arizona, I thought, wow. That's going to be a good NBA center, but it hasn't been that. I think he's underachieved. He's not the same player anymore. So I guess I'm in a minority. Everybody knows podcast. There's nobody out there aside from Hacksaw that likes what LeBron has done over the course of this magnificent career. Everybody hates LeBron. God.
It's weird. It is a weird thing. You don't see this in other sports.
Yeah. So that's where we are. Shut up and play, and let's see where you make this thing even better. Good input. But Carlos, if you're going to drink before the podcast, at least offer us a few cold beers too. It's 99 freaking degrees outside. Carlos, thanks for joining us, man. Great to have you on board.
Okay, here's a two-parter. This is from Angel talking about the All-Star game. He goes, hey, I love the MLB All-Star game. Unlike the other three, the MLB All-Star game is played like a regular game, Plus, the players are wearing their own uniforms. Some of the softball Walmart-style uni. And he goes on to say, hey, interleague is one of the reasons why MLB All-Star Game lost some of its luster.
Yeah, it has. And now the players are making gobs of money. And there's the injury factor of the season is such a grind. You got guys now that don't want to get on a plane on Sunday night and fly to Atlanta and then play and take part in the All-Star festivities and then get on a plane, come home, and have to start the second half of the season. Guys want a chance to decompress. I'll tell you, the 4 or 5 days off that these guys, the non-All-Star guys, this is like gold for them to be able to sleep in their own bed, not have to get on a plane, not to go to a stadium, go through treatment and all that. So I understand the wear and tear factor, but this is also really special. And I don't want to see the All-Star game just become a dog and pony show, or as somebody said, they become the Savannah Bananas with the way the roster has been laid out, et cetera. It's lost a little bit of its zing, a little bit of its luster. Injuries have obviously got something to do with it.
On my drive home last night from San Francisco, one of the guys on Sports Talk Radio was talking about the 1971 All-Star Game at Detroit Tiger Stadium and saying that was probably one of the best All-Star games of all time.
Is that where Reggie hit it on the roof?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently there were like some huge number, like 19 guys or something like that. They're Hall of Famers from that one All-Star game. Yep. So, yeah, the All-Star game has diminished a lot because I remember it was a cool thing in spring training when I get to see the Giants playing the A's or the Giants playing the Yankees. Well, they didn't play the Yankees because that was in Florida, but they play other American League teams. Now it's just like, whatever. I see it in the regular season with interleague play, and it does take luster off the All-Star game.
The novelty of even interleague players now, it feels different. It's another series, 3-game series on the schedule. When they first started interleague play, they really had a system. They put interleague play either side of the All-Star games.
I remember that, yeah.
And it was really cool. Like, all right, we're going to see Cincinnati play Cleveland, fierce Ohio rivals. We're going to see Giants and A's. We're going to see Yankees and Mets. But they were sandwiched either side. But now the fact that we have a balanced schedule, the whole scheduling is changed, and now you got interleague games at the start, interleague games during the season. It's just got a different thing to it. And I will say this: tomorrow night they're not wearing no Walmart softball uniforms. Right. Everybody's going to have their home colors or their road colors. I like that. But
no City Connects either.
And I wish like hell that all the named players were there, but sometimes guys need breaks.
Yeah. This season's a grind, man. Yes. I mean, it really is. So it's going to be, the All-Star break is great for the players. I agree, but it was cool seeing like Teoscar Hernandez last year winning the Major League Baseball home run derby. And he had his little kid there with him, you know, and gets to take, that's a once in a lifetime.
Exactly. Thank you for the comment, and Angel, and we'll see what Tuesday night All-Star game is like. And of course, we got home run derby with who's in the home run derby on Monday night?
James Wood.
That's true.
Okay. And we'll get to see if Cal Raleigh's the real deal too. Okay, here, let's talk a little bit about Hacksaw's resume. He goes, afternoon, gents. Hey, Mr. Hamilton, since you answered my question about you working a WHA game in San Diego, how about if you did a major indoor soccer league or NASL game in San Diego while in Cleveland?
I did. I did Cleveland Force indoor soccer on radio 1 year, and I came to San Diego, and we played the San Diego Sockers indoors. Ron Newman was the head coach.
Right.
Great guy to interview, just off the charts. But the San Diego Sockers were really special. Holy cow. Stevie Zungel, and they had so many great players there.
Julie V.
Exactly.
I worked at the sports arena then. I was a college
right.
student.
I remember
I was selling popcorn up and down the aisles, and the Cleveland Force was actually a good team.
Yep. Yeah, we had an Argentinian midfielder. His name was Ruben Astigaraga, and we called him Ruben 11 Letters. And he was a magician with the ball on his foot. He did stuff they'd never seen. And then we had a player who, I guess he had come from the English Premier League. His name was Mike Berry, a short little guy who could just physical. He spoke an English brogue that I didn't understand. And his phraseology of, we're going to give you the stick. You're an American radio announcer and give you the stick. I didn't know what the hell he's talking about. Stick is I'm going to give you a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Stick.
Stick. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we had a South African guy who could run all night. Baby Attar was his nickname. And he learned how to play the angles off the boards, etc. So, the first time, it was like doing hockey. That's why I got hired. I was the only one that could kind of understand how the game worked indoors. And so I'd use hockey terminology to discuss the Cleveland Force. But boy, St. Louis Steamers were really good. Baltimore team was really good. And obviously the San Diego Sockers were, they were legendary.
Yeah, they were dominant back then.
And that's what saddens me no end. We have a very good indoor program here. Craig Childs is a great gentleman, very good soccer player with the current San Diego Sockers, but they don't market the sport. The sport's almost semi-pro compared to what this was.
But they're playing in that new arena in
Oceanside, yeah. But they're not, they draw 1,200, they draw 800. Yeah. It's not, when we played the Sockers in here, I was in here one time. I swear there must have been 8,000 fans here.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the height of Ron Newman's great success.
Yeah, at the sports arena. They filled that place up.
So that's another page on my resume.
I love hearing all these backstories on Hacksaw. I think it's good. Okay. Hey, let's go here to Casey. And he goes, Hey, Lee, how do you like calling games at the LA Coliseum, which is one of my favorite stadiums I've been to? I miss hearing you do football play-by-play, as you were awesome on calling football games.
Yeah, we had a great time. Loved it. Loved doing the Chargers. I like doing San Diego State. I was very, very blessed to be able to do it during the Marshall Faulk era. And obviously, I did USC football for 3 years. Coliseum, I know the history, and when it's full, it is just electric. But we were so far away in the press box area, way up high. It was a much different feel. Rose Bowl was really different. I did USC UCLA at the Rose Bowl. Man, that was electric. And that's coming from somebody who also did Ohio State, Michigan back in the day at the Horseshoe.
You did that?
Yeah. So yeah, but I was amazed. USC, UCLA. And I've talked to people that talk about the other rivalries in the old Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12. The Apple Cup, Washington State. Oh, that's electric. And Oregon State was always played in bad weather. They had a game was played in the mud. It was a 0-0 tie. I think it was in the 70s. And it just, I've heard stories about it, and games played in snow, etc. So the old Pac-10, Pac-8, some great historical rivalries there. So I enjoyed doing play, but I love game day. I love the NFL, and obviously I love this kind of uniqueness. The San Diego State thing was kind of cool because that was at the height of Lavelle Edwards and all greatness at BYU, the quarterback factory.
Yeah.
And we had such great games with Brigham Young. The wildest game I ever did was 51-51, Aztecs BYU.
I remember that one.
Robbie Bosco threw for 1,000 yards, and David Lowry and Marshall Faulk were heaving a ball up and down the field. So it was a great time. Boy, it seems like a lifetime ago.
Now, the LA Coliseum, wasn't that where Raider fan offered you some weed?
Yeah, at halftime of a Charger-Raider game. I'm sitting there, we're at halftime, and the Chargers are beating the Raiders. I don't know if it was a Super Bowl season or not, but so we're getting to halftime, and we smell something in the press box. And Jim Laslovic turns to me and says, "What is that?" And I said, "That's not a burnt hot dog, I'll guarantee you that." And it was some guy who had come up the stairwell to the radio booth. You could look right into if you stood on your tippy toes, you could peer right into the radio booth. This guy came up and offered us some marijuana at halftime. Raider fan, the best of the bunch. I said, "Nah, that's okay. I'll pass on that. Thanks for listening."
Hacksaw stories, man, are just great.
Oh, yeah, it Oakland Coliseum. So we go in there early to set up because we did that long pregame show on the Charger broadcast when the Charger broadcasts were really
from
good.
Dawn to dusk.
Yeah, damn right. So we go in there at like 9 o'clock in the morning to get set up, and we're walking in through the parking lot. And of course, Raider Nation is out there in force, flags and motorcycles and gang members and all that. The guys walking up to us, offering us hard liquor at 9 o'clock in the morning. They were just getting ready. That was their pregame breakfast.
Yeah.
I said, "No, guys, we'll catch you on the backside when we come out after the game." So it's just hilarious. Raider Nation, they hated me, but they loved me.
You get some Star Wars characters out there too.
Oh, the finest that society has to offer. Okay, thanks, Case.
Okay, let's go here to Joey. He goes, hey, Dodgers always slump before the All-Star break. They're about to get back Snell and Glass now and Max in a couple of weeks. Is there a trade they can make for the playoffs to better improve their chances? We talked about Arenado. I mean, what do you think they could get another pitcher?
Do they need another pitcher? That's the big issue. Do they need another pitcher? Are they willing to trade somebody from AAA like Landon Knack or one of those guys to go get a rental for a half a season? I don't know. They're waiting in the wings, though. Look at the guys that are sitting there waiting to come back. I mean, Landon Knack has been more trustworthy than most young guys when they've asked him to come up and pitch. And then obviously, we're waiting on Snell and the bullpen, even though Phillips is gone for the year, Trinan is going to come back. Now Kopech may not be back till the 1st of September with this knee scope meniscus problem that he had. But I think solving the issue at third base more than anything else is more significant to the Dodgers than trying to rent another arm, unless there's a setback. If there's a setback in the next 2 weeks with Snell, then maybe they have to rethink this whole thing.
Well, who did a great job was Emmett Sheehan.
Yeah.
Because Ohtani went, I think, 2 or 3 innings, and then Sheehan picked up the ball and went for like 4+ innings.
He's given more good starts than he's had bad starts.
Yeah, so you're right. They just have a ton of depth. But who was playing third base for the Dodgers over the weekend?
Well, it was Kiki Hernandez, but then he's hurt and he's on the disabled list. They moved Miguel Rojas, I think.
Yeah, that would
shortstop,
make sense.
second baseman, but he's not a third baseman, but he had a home run. There may be a transaction to get a third baseman. If it's not Arenado, maybe they'll rent somebody else.
Do they think they still wish they had Justin Turner?
No, because age has caught up to him. He's not hitting at all. So he's the last I checked, I want to say 3 weeks ago, I thought he was hitting like 179. So
really,
he's got a lot of miles on him. He's had a great career, but you do wake up old.
Yeah, it hits you one day.
That's right.
But not you. You keep going.
There's some days I feel like did your dad ever own a DeSoto or a Packard or an Oldsmobile?
No, I don't go that far back.
Okay. Well, some days I feel like a DeSoto with 200,000 miles on it. Things start to break.
Hey, man, you've seen it all, though.
Damn right.
You have. You have a great career.
And I'm standing here still throwing fastballs.
Yeah,
at
you
people.
are. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You're going strong. All right, here we go. Let's go to Richard, Fans Forum. Hey, Red Wings keep rebuilding on top of another rebuild. This has been going on way too long. Every time you throw the dirt on the Dodgers, they still keep finding ways to stay on top.
Well, it's been a long rebuild in Detroit. I mean, they were one of the first ones ever. First, the Red Wings hockey used to be about Gordie Howe and Ted Lindsay and the great Alex Delvecchio, who just passed at age 93. And then Detroit, obviously, they were at the forefront with the European invasion. I mean, their ability to bring players from the Soviet Union, that's what made them great. And then Stevie Yzerman came, and there was another, that's the third reinvention of Red Wings hockey. But they've been down for a while. And I'll tell you, Stevie Y's under a lot of heat now as the president of hockey operations, and they've had coaching failures, et cetera. So I don't know how much longer they've got to try to fix this thing. So I'm kind of surprised. I would have thought we would have gotten some Hockey Night in Canada calls from people pro-con Don Cherry, because in Canada, everybody's got an opinion on Don Cherry.
I mean, is there anyone in America that you would compare Don Cherry? He's that.
Oh, yeah. Damn, yes.
Yeah. But Cosell would never say anything like, potentially racist, like you were commenting on. Cosell never went that far.
No, Cosell was over the top, though, with critique. He really was. But Cherry he's way over the line. And Hockey Night in Canada just let him do it. I mean, it became must-see TV every Saturday. What is he going to say on Coach's Corner? And he would always say something that you would find, oh, that's just a bit offensive. So he made the comment that we should have killed all the parents of the Russian players at the Russian front in World War II. Well,
he probably gets the TV ratings. So, the advertising salespeople are doing well.
So anyhow, we'll see as we go. Maybe we'll get some other hockey fans who want to.
Yeah, little Dodgers comment there, though. They keep finding a way to win.
Well, they do. But Dodger dollars are good anywhere.
Yeah.
And historically, they've always drafted well, too. I mean, if you look at that roster, yes, there are big money free agents, but the roster's also developed a fusillade of great pitching.
I prefer the Frank McCourt days.
I'd expect a dumbass comment
Yeah.
that somebody wearing a Giants hat.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's go here to Roy. Hey, Hacksaw John, do you guys really think the Red Sox will trade Duran, being 3 games out of the division lead? And even if Preller trades Cease, it's not a good trade.
Well, Detroit, I would say Boston is not going to take Dylan Cease right now at 3-9 or 3-10, whatever his record is. So keep that in mind. Duran is hanging in there. Boston's won 10 in a row. They get to the All-Star break. They've won 10 in a row. And if you look at that Red Sox batting order, that box score, that roster, that's all homegrown talent. Now, granted, Garrett Crochet came from the White Sox as the front end of the pitcher, but all their everyday guys are their own people. I mean, what a phenomenal job of roster building they've done. And as much as controversial as Craig Breslow has been as general manager, boy, he's put a lot of pieces in place that seem to be working so far. So at this point, I don't think they're going to trade Duran unless it's the right guy. You tell me who San Diego's got to offer as a right guy.
Well, I think Padre fans don't want Duran because he's a lefty hitter. We need right-handed hitters. He potentially can hit for average and be productive, but he's not necessarily a power hitter.
No, but if he hits 275 and hits 20 home runs and plays really viable in the outfield, that's good. That's a good player. But who the Padres got that Boston needs or wants? No.
Yeah. Well, it's talking about homegrown. Marcelo Myers, a local kid here from Eastlake High School. And then who was the kid that made that big splash a few weeks ago with the cool name? Roman something or other?
Roman Anthony.
Yeah, Roman Anthony.
And they got another kid by the name of Sed, what's his last name? Riafala, I think it is. Or he's having a really good midseason. I mean, their roster is full of homegrown talent.
Wow. I mean, so that's a really bunched up top of the AL East. And I haven't looked at the standings lately, but Toronto is 1, and then are the Yankees 2 and Red Sox 3?
Right there. And like I said, Boston's gotten to the All-Star break with a 10-game win streak.
Wow.
Okay, move on.
Okay, let's go to social media. Lots to do here as well. So go down the list. We'll talk a little. Let's go Padres. And this is from Alan. He goes, hey, karma is real, folks. The magnitude of Tatis and his antics, which included roaming around the outfield at Chavez Ravine, pantomiming that his testicles are so large that he can't walk. Even the toughest and vociferous MLB players don't act like that pretty much ever. Toss in Manny Machado, and you have the recipe for enough negative energy to take down a franchise, and that's what's happening.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I made a comment this past week that El Nino might be a really great athlete, but maybe he's not a true student of the game. Machado has got his shortcomings, but Machado is a great player, and the game seems to come awful easy to Machado. And you hear baseball people just talk about the talent base that he brings to the yard every night, and he's a baller. He plays all the time. So I wouldn't say they've been destructive to San Diego, because the Padres have given us 4 or 5 years of really legitimate good baseball, though they haven't been in a World Series yet. But no, they're really fine players. Of course, they're also getting paid superstar money, so I expect superstar productivity out of those guys, and we haven't seen that from Tatis on a consistent basis, and he's had all those nagging injuries. So Alan, I'm not going to say I'm signing that memo of what you presented there, because I think those are really good ball players. They just need to get more players around them right now, and they don't have that, and they don't have the resources to go get it, and they have a lid on their payroll, I think, right now.
But it was fun to watch on TV.
Oh,
that
yeah.
whole thing was going down. It was wild. But, to me, it's just that, Manny has matured and Fernando is maturing. And I think we're seeing that process play out. I wouldn't expect to see, Mr. Large Testicles in right field, if they happen to face off again in the playoffs.
Oh, that's a reach. I think we probably will, because that's a rivalry that's now gone to a different dimension.
Yeah, it has. Yeah. So it's all good. Okay, let's go here. Talk a little all-star game with Joe. He goes, implement the ABS full board. Don't even have challenges. Let that be the balls and strikes. They need to get it right. Amen, 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 amen.
Well, they're going to put the computerized robo-ump in there tomorrow, but it's only with 2 challenges. It's going to be here opening day, which I think is good. I'd like to see more than 2 challenges per game. I'd like to see maybe 5 per team, because more than anything else, you want to get the play correct at the most important time of the game. I don't think guys are going to be doing this in the first inning, because you want to save your challenges when the bases are loaded, things of that nature. But You got the technology, use the technology, but do it more than twice a game, because I don't think twice a game makes the game perfect. If you give a guy 5, and let's just say he has 5 challenges, he doesn't get to add on if they get it right. You just give him 5. You got 5 per night. And you decide when you're going to use them. And the technology means you can do it and snap finger pretty quick within 18 seconds electronically. Now, I don't want to have every ball and strike open for challenges, because that, I would think, would interrupt the flow of the game. Am I right or am I right?
You're wrong. Just let that call the balls and strikes, and the umpire behind the plate is like another base umpire, kind of standing off to the side, not calling balls and strikes, but will call safe and out at home plate or fair or foul down the line. It's better to get it right. I mean, poor old Luis Campusano got screwed, on Sunday in the game, getting calls that were out of the box, and they call it a strike.
Yeah, the umpire strike zone is so weird.
Yeah, sometimes you'll see games where literally the ball is right down the middle and they call it a ball.
Yeah.
What the hell? I mean, so bring in the computerized system and let's evolve.
Okay, but it's not going to be every pitch. But I'd like to see 5 challenges each side. That's it. Get it right. Most important point of the game.
Okay. All right, let's keep on going here. And let's this is a good comment, because we talked a little bit about Don and Mud and the Padres broadcast, and the fans love Don and Mud. But this was an interesting comment from Paul, and he goes, I can't stand Orsillo and Grant yucking it up when the Padres are about to suffer yet another devastating defeat. They need to be more serious when situations call for it. You can't have fans at home watching them lose, cussing and yelling and hating on players if Bogarts never comes through in the clutch. But then you hear Don and Mud laughing and giggling and playing with dolls and not matching the emotions that the fans are feeling. They need to suffer as much as we do.
Have you noticed anything this past week? We put this topic on the table about a week and a half ago.
Yeah, we did.
If I were king, what I'd like to see on the Padre broadcast. What's been on the Padre broadcast in the last week, going into the All-Star break? More conversation about hot topics on the table, more insertions of out-of-town scoreboard, more conversations using Pomerantz, Scanlon on hot topics. And now I don't, should I take credit? Because if I were king, I had opinions about what I'd add to make the broadcast even better than it is. And I happen to like those guys. Those guys, though, they're like you. Sometimes they go off on these tangents.
But that's what makes them great.
I like lime jello, but I don't want in the middle of my broadcast Mark Grant telling me how I should walk my golden retriever at night or how to make lime jello. It says sometimes the content is just a little bit off.
It is. But, it seems like Eric Grupner's paying attention to you, because he's on the business side saying, hey, man, I got this idea,
If I were king, you've got all these employees, utilize them. There's so many unique things you can add to the broadcast without interrupting the flow of the broadcast. And it's all baseball driven. And if you want to help me make yellow jello with fruit in it, that's okay too.
Okay. Well, here's another kind of a tangent on that, because I remember in one of the conversations I said, hey, it'd be great to have you in the booth with Laz and Chet 40. And here's a comment from Squint. He goes, that'd be quite a feat to bring Chet back.
Chet was great. We were on the road. I mean, Chet had done so many great things in the television industry. And we go on the road and we'd sit in a hotel lobby on the road in Denver. And he would just start telling stories about where he'd been, what he had televised. He televised Queen's coronation in England.
That's amazing.
Can you imagine that? He's talking about the Olympics. He's one of the first ones that said, we're putting a camera on the ski jump right here where this guy comes down and launches. But they had to climb up there and see how they could do it. But they did it.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, so he did so many.
Was he in the truck, like deciding which?
Yeah, well, he was a director and all that. But the creative aspect of the job was, we want to put cameras here, there, and everywhere. Like we'll have cameras at home plate in the All-Star game tomorrow, or cameras at first base. That's the kind of stuff that the directors would do in the weeks and months leading to big telecasts. He did so many things. We'd sit in a hotel lobby and he'd start telling stories about the Olympics that he did, or the coronation of the Queen of England. Can you freaking believe that? So, I mean, he was so done. I mean, he had so many personal issues that it eventually killed him. But man, talk about a life well lived. Holy
okay,
cow.
wait a minute. I'm doing the math in my head. The coronation of the Queen of England? Because that was like in the 1940s.
Maybe it was a wedding.
No, it was probably the wedding of Charles and Diana.
Could be.
And that would make sense.
He did so many great things.
Yeah.
And he's just telling about all these different places he'd been globally. He just wasn't a guy that just did Monday Night Football with Howard Cosell, Dandy Don, and Gift, but as a guy did so many other things.
He was really good on the radio. I
thought he was.
And he did that Loose Cannon show with Hartman. And I really enjoyed those guys.
Yeah. I told John Lynch, the owner of Extra 690, and John was the one who was responsible. I was the first guy they ever hired. And when they were putting this thing together and they were going to hire Steve Hartman to be the midday host, and they were trying to find somebody to work with them. And they were running through the gamut of a wide variety of different people. And I told John, and John came up with this idea and said, Chet Forty? I said, yes. I interviewed Chet a couple times because Chet was the architect of the creative juice of what Monday Night Football became when he worked with Howard and Dandy Don and Giff. And he said, I'm going to bring him out here. He had lost his job at ABC because he had a gambling addiction and all that, and all his friends turned on him. And John gave him a hand. And Chet showed up, and I thought, this is magic. So you got Steve Hartman, loudmouth young West Coast punk, and you got Chet Forty, Mr. Brooklyn, old school East Coast bias. And those two guys, boom. And they didn't always get along together. But man, they'd sit there and they'd debate each other and they'd stand in the hallway and yell at each other. I mean, it was electric. And then Chet passed away very suddenly. And suddenly 690 had a decision. What are we doing? How are we going to replace Chet? And I came up with the idea. My guy, Bill Warndell, Philly Billy. And Billy and I had worked around NFL topics for a long time. I said, this might be a good hire. Same set of circumstances. Hartman, West Coast ideology. Philly Billy, all things East Coast. And what was that like? Just like Steve and Chet. I mean, it was mystical the way it came together.
Yeah, I mean, Chet, legit icon in the business of sports journalism, and I loved his show. But by the way, Bill Warndell, wasn't he part of the Charger broadcast at one point? Bill Warndell? Or am I making that up in my head?
No, he did pre-post and stuff like that, but he was not part of the traveling team.
Okay. But I think it's cool. So I remember when he was at Our Lads Draft Guide, and he would come on your show.
Yeah, all the time.
And you would do previews of the draft and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So it's great. But Chet was cut from a different cloth. Chet, you talk about icon of TV. You talk about brilliance on TV. He created Monday Night Football. Howard and Dandy and Giff got all the praise, and they were the personalities, but he was the creative juice behind the scenes.
He probably gets a lot of recognition in the industry for people in that part of the business, right?
Oh, yes, very much so.
So he's like if there's a Hall of Fame for what they do, he's probably in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting point that you bring up about Chet Forty. I just enjoyed being around him because he always had an opinion. And he was a great Ivy League basketball player. He played at Columbia. Right. He was an All-American.
That's right. I remember that.
Back in the 1950s, all 5'6" of him.
He's like George Plimpton, does everything.
Yeah.
The Renaissance man.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we hope you have enjoyed this podcast. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. I hope you will tell everybody about what we're doing. Share, subscribe, check my website. It's all written. It's there first thing every morning. And of course, we're glad that you're part of Fans Forum. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Take that damn hat off.
No way, baby.
John, enjoy the All-Star game. We'll see you come Thursday because we'll be dealing more and more with NFL training camp notes. And, of course, baseball trade deadline is the next thing that's right there on the horizon.
Yeah, the trade deadline is always a fun time of the year. It's going to start getting hot on the hot stove.
Have yourself a great All-Star break. We'll see you come Thursday. And we'll see you Thursday at 1:30. Thanks, as always, for being part of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps. For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.